What's up YouTube, Down on the Smartphone Guy, coming back at you with another video, and tonight I'm going to give you my full review of the LG G6. So this is a phone that I've been rocking for about 2 weeks now, and I have the T-Mobile variant, and I gotta say that in my first impressions video of this phone, I called this phone a phone that I like, but a phone that I don't necessarily love. And I will say that after 2 full weeks of usage, I've grown to like this phone a lot more. So let's go ahead and get into what I like about it right now. Alright, so if you're new to this channel, definitely check out some of my older videos on the LG G6 because this is a phone that I've probably done the most extensive coverage on this channel of, so definitely check out some of those older videos. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts on this phone after about 2 weeks of usage. So first of all, the thing that you're greeted with first with this phone is the absolutely beautiful design. So I would say up to this point in 2017, so this is April 8th, and I would say that this is the most beautiful phone that you can purchase at this point. Now, the S8 isn't available yet, so there's a little caveat there because I'll say that that probably has a slightly more beautiful design, just in my opinion. Obviously, that's an opinion, that your opinion may vary, but I would say that overall the design quality of this phone is easily a 4.9 out of 5. And the only thing I would say that maybe is just a slight knock on the design would be the fingerprints on the back of the phone, but that's true with any glass back phone. And in fact, this phone, compared to other glass back phones, probably has less of a fingerprint issue, especially if you get the Platinum Ice version of the phone, which is what I have. The black one definitely is more of a fingerprint magnet. The other thing that I would mention is that dual camera setup. While the dual camera setup is definitely a huge thumbs up on the rear, I will say that it's not the prettiest looking dual camera setup I've ever seen. Shout out to Honor for that, because I think their dual camera setup looks a little bit nicer. So with that being said, the design is easily a huge thumbs up on this device. Second thing I want to talk about is the performance. So performance-wise, this phone absolutely flies. So it's using the Snapdragon 821 with 4 gigs of RAM, and this particular version has 32 gigs of onboard storage, so going from task to task is absolutely no problem. Playing games on it, again, no problem whatsoever. We can jump into, let's see, NBA Jam. Let's see, I think I finished the game actually, so it's probably going to reload, yeah. But overall, performance-wise, I haven't run into any games that had any issues on this phone, but tasking, going from social media to games to whatever you might be doing, multitasking on this phone is no problem at all. I've had very, very little performance issues. I've had a total of 2 forced closes in the 2 weeks of usage so far. So there are some minor things, but overall I would say performance is easily a 4.9, 4.8 out of 5. So next thing I want to talk about is the call quality. That's a 5 out of 5. I've not had any issues at all with the call quality. Every person that I've called on this phone so far has heard me no problem, and I've heard them just as well. So definitely a 5 out of 5 there. Now let's talk about battery life. So battery life on this phone is kind of a mixed bag. I'm going to say that I'll give it a 4 out of 5, maybe a 4.5 out of 5. And in general, if we can go into some battery options here, actually I'll show you my use today and tell you how that compares. So I'm currently at 9%. I've been using it all day, and this is what, 10:45 p.m. So it's getting pretty late, and let's go ahead and jump into our settings. Go into our battery. So I have it set up a little different than what I'm used to because I've been using a custom launcher on this the entire time for the most part. And so let's go into the battery here. And there it is, so 9% battery usage. And check out our screen on time, so that's 20% of the day. So 4 hours and 16 minutes, that's actually pretty darn average in my usage so far with this phone. So in general, I'm getting about 4.5 to 5 hours a day. And that's pretty consistent across the board. All of my use been 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time every single day. And I'm a pretty heavy user, so that's pretty good. I mean, it's 11 o'clock at night almost, and I'm still doing okay with battery. So obviously, probably, you know, on a typical day, I'd probably plug it in at 9 o'clock, but I wanted to show you guys what my battery usage was like in a typical day. So with that being said, battery life, it's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. All right, let's jump into the cameras. So I've already talked a little bit about those dual 13 megapixel cameras. We have a wide aperture and a more narrow aperture, or more standard aperture. The cameras on the rear take excellent photos. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of those photos. So there's the front-facing camera. The front-facing camera is an 8 megapixel camera, and I would say the front-facing camera maybe isn't quite as good. So I actually did this photo right here in T-Mobile, and I shot a picture with the S8 right next to it, the exact same picture, just to kind of see. Obviously, this is just the floor, but the details on the S8 were definitely a little bit better. So when I get that phone, I'll do some more extensive coverage of the two cameras. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw up some videos and pictures for you so you can check those out. This does shoot in 4K with the rear cameras, and then it shoots in 1080p with the front cameras. Also, optical image stabilization is available on the narrow aperture. On the wide aperture, you will not get optical image stabilization. So just something to keep in mind if you are doing videos on the phone. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the software experience on the LG G6. So I would say overall, I'd probably give that, again, about a 4 out of 5. To their credit, LG has done a lot of tweaking of their software, so they haven't done so much that it totally changes Android 7.0. But with that being said, they have offered in some little tweaks that I would say make this a more useful phone in Android 7.0. Now, if I had to say there's a phone that I would personally give as the best example of the kind of software I want, that would be Motorola. Motorola has done enough tweaks to Android 7.0 to make it more useful, whereas LG does a little bit more complication of Android 7.0. But with that being said, there are some very useful features that I covered in previous videos, so definitely check out some of those older videos to look at a detailed look at the software. But overall, I would say LG's done a decent job with the software, but still not my favorite. So just a couple of the key things that I'll mention here in the display. There's quite a few settings in here that I think are very useful. So the first thing would be the app scaling. So this has an 18:9 aspect ratio. So if you're going into certain apps, they're not going to cover the entire screen. So you have little black bars on the top and bottom. So LG has included this app scaling option for many software options, many apps, but they don't have it for a certain one, and that is YouTube, what you're watching this on right now. So that would be the one little key missing one there, but Netflix and Hulu and all those do work with that app scaling. The other thing that they've baked in here as well is they've got the knock on. They also have screensaver. So those are, and then the always on display, which I haven't used, but it is an option that is available. So we'll go ahead and go out of there, turn the phone off. So that's the power button that doubles as the fingerprint sensor, which also works very well. But let's go ahead and turn that off, and then you can see there that you can tweak this a bunch. So you can make that an analog clock, you can make it a digital clock, you can put a signature in there as well, and you can see that there's some smart notifications there as well. So I would say that always on display is nice. I personally haven't been using it a whole lot, but overall the software experience on this phone is improved, but still not the kind of software experience that I like on Android. So, as you can see here, for the most part, while I've been using this phone, I've been using Nova Launcher. So this looks a whole lot like what I have over here on my Moto G5 Plus. In fact, it looks identical. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the next thing, and that is the speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and go into YouTube real quick, and we're just going to, for fun, pick this video by Jeff Springer, and I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you.
Free app are hoping to make roads safer by making drivers better. Do you consider yourself a good driver?
Okay, this is not his video, by the way.
I'll tell you if you are for sure. I gave it a try. At the end of your trip, you can view your performance, including a rating of what.
What's up, YouTube? Jeff back again from DopeTechDaily.com.
Okay, so with that being said, overall the speaker isn't terrible. It's not the quietest speaker for sure. There are certainly phones that have quieter speakers, and it's also not the most tinny speaker. Overall, the sound quality is not too bad, but it's also not amazing. Of course, I'd prefer front-firing speakers, dual front-firing speakers, but overall, for a bottom-firing speaker, it's not too bad. Next thing I want to talk about are the extras that have been included with LG on this phone. So first of all, I didn't mention this, but it has a 3300 milliamp hour battery, and that is available with Quick Charge 3.0, so you can charge it up pretty quick. In general, it's taking me about an hour and a half to get full battery, so you can see right now I'm at 7%. To get that fully charged, it's going to take about 90 minutes, maybe a little bit less than that, but right around 90 minutes overall. So pretty quick charging. It does also have wireless charging available, so I can set it up on my wireless charger that I don't have plugged in at the moment. And get it a nice charge out of it. And it's worked really well, even with cases. So the case I've been using is this Poetic case with no problems. I actually had some thicker dual layer cases that it worked really well with. So absolutely no issues with the Qi wireless charging on this phone. It is, of course, IPX68 certified. So you can literally go out, drop it in the lake, and as long as you can find it, you'll be okay. Now, if you drop it 30 feet in the water, you might not be okay. But overall, if you're going out in the rain, if you sweat on it, whatever, it's going to be just fine. And you can see plenty of videos where people have actually just set it in water for half an hour and had no issues with the phone afterwards. So that is an excellent feature that they've included. So LG, thumbs up to you on that. So overall, do I love this phone? I'm going to say that right now, it is probably my favorite phone that I've had. Now, there's some key phones that I haven't had. I haven't had the Google Pixel, so maybe that would be my favorite. I don't know. But as of right now, I would say that this phone and probably this phone, which is also a phone that I currently have, the Moto G5 Plus, are two of my favorite phones that I've had in a long time. So the Honor 8 would be right up there as well. But this is an excellent phone, and the longer I've had it, the more I really like this phone. I can't say that I love it, but I do say that I really like this phone a lot. And overall, I think LG has done an excellent job with the G6, correcting some of the things maybe that I didn't like in the past. Now, are there things that maybe could be improved? Yeah, so 32 gigs out of the box probably wasn't the best way to go. You can throw in a micro SD card in there, and you can use that as internal. Okay, so I want to go into apps. Here it is. And just to show you that you can use apps on the SD card. So let's go ahead and jump into one that I know will work for sure. So Best Buy, and here in storage, once it computes, we'll just go ahead and hit it. We can change it from internal storage over here to the SD card. So it is possible to move many apps, not every app, of course, but a lot of your apps can be moved over with a micro SD card. So with that being said, there are some little things in this phone that I don't necessarily like, but I do like this phone a lot. So overall, I think what LG has done with the G6 is definitely a go. If you're interested in picking it up, you can pick it up on all the major carriers for right around $650. A lot of them are including some special extras. So like I know T-Mobile is now including a tablet with the phone for free. So go ahead and check that out. I know that a lot of carriers are doing some little bonuses with the phone as well. So excellent phone, worth your time, worth checking out. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.